Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cinema Tales. Today we are going to explain a classic movie, where an old cunning man does everything to leave his wife and mingle with young girls. He meets a young man just like him, who proves lucky for him. What happens next? Watch the full episode to know. So the story begins after the Second World War, where some rich people of Milan left the city to escape from the bombing and tension and settled in a quiet village on the banks of the lake. One of those rich families was the Arambili family, whose head was Cluffy Arambili. Their family was very rich, and they had a very big and magnificent palace on the banks of the lake. Cluffy's husband's name was Mario Arambili, who was a retired army man. He was a very cheerful and girlish person, who had no other work other than wandering around. Because Cluffy knew everything about him, so she kept an eye on him. Cluffy was also accompanied by his younger brother's wife, Matilda, whose husband had gone to war 10 years ago, but he has not returned from there yet. There was a bedroom in Cluffy's magnificent villa, which belonged to Cluffy's great-uncle Bishop, who was a homosexual. And he used to come to this village on the pretext of meeting his lover, but he died here because he drowned in the lake. And according to the villagers, their family members had found out the secret of his homosexuality. That's why they drowned him in the water and killed him, because 50 years have passed since this incident, so there was no proof that he was killed. Mario gets very bored after his army retirement and enjoys the money of his wife Cluffy. He still wants to live a colorful life like his first life, when he mingled with many young girls at the same time. Later we learn that Mario likes his sister-in-law Matilda very much, and can do anything to make an illicit relationship with her. But he can't do that because of his wife's fear. One day, Mario meets a man named Marco, who must be about Matilda's age. Actually, Marco was also a vagabond like Mario. He didn't have any other job other than roaming around in his boat in the lake and having fun with his friends. He used to stay on this boat only. Because Marco and Mario's nature was exactly the same, so they became good friends. After which Mario invites Marco to his house for dinner, on which Marco agrees immediately. Mario, Marco, and Matilda are having dinner on the dinner table. Marco doesn't find it strange that Mario has no place in his house, and here, only his wife Cluffy is allowed. After this, Matilda's husband Angela is talked about on the dinner table, who hasn't returned from a fight for 10 years. Even though she is married, she is still a virgin. That's why Cluffy keeps a strict eye on Matilda and traps her in a cage like a bird. Marco couldn't bear to see Matilda in this condition, and he wanted to take Matilda away from here, where he could give her a lot of love. Matilda was a beautiful girl, and at first glance, Marco was attracted to her. After dinner, Mario requests Marco to go to the same place at night, and gets the same room installed in which Cluffy's uncle Bishop stayed. Marco can clearly see Matilda's room from that room. At night, Marco sees Matilda in steamy condition, which makes him attracted towards her more. But the next morning, he has to leave even though he doesn't want to. Marco is leaving from his boat. Then Mario talks about going to the lake with him. That's why Marco agrees to take him in the boat with him. After spending a lot of time in the lake, Marco takes Mario to his girlfriend's house, where he also has a friend, on whom Mario tries his luck many times. After which they all enjoy naked on the boat. After so many years of leaving the army, this adventure came to Mario's life for the first time. And he gets emotional while remembering his old days. One evening, Marco goes to the city to pick up his luggage, and the next morning, he comes back and sees that Mario is lying on the same bed with his girlfriend. And when asked, Marco's girlfriend says that Mario was not able to sleep alone last night because he was having a lot of scary dreams. That's why she let Mario sleep with her. Here, Marco clearly understands that Mario is such a cunning man. He can stab anyone to satisfy his hunger, even if he is his friend. But this doesn't affect Marco much, because he was not serious about his girlfriend. After spending a few days with Mario and Marco on the boat, he comes back to his villa. He went to the lake with Marco without telling his wife, Cluffy. And when he came back, he didn't want to face his wife. But he looks from the villa and binoculars for a while that Cluffy's cousin has come to the villa with his 2 young daughters. Marco got 2 more victims to make his plan work. That's why he comes back home without any fear. There, Mario takes both the daughters of Cluffy's cousin out on the pretext of showing them the board, where he starts his cunning act with both of them. Then suddenly his father comes there and sees Mario's action. Seeing this happening with his daughters, Cluffy's cousin abuses Mario a lot. Here we viewers know that how Mario is seen in the house, where, along with his wife, even the gardener of the house didn't respect him. That day, after Mario was very disrespected, he goes to meet Marco at night and tells him that he and Matilda love each other very much. But his wife Cloffy can't meet him, and because he wants to spend some good moments with Matilda, he requests Marco to let Matilda come on the boat with him. And he also forces Marco to call his girlfriend on the boat, because by doing this, Matilda will get company. Friends, Mario does this because he knows that Matilda is slowly starting to like Marco, and that's why he tells Marco the false story of his love, so that everything ends before something starts between them. The next day, Mario and Matilda see Marco and his girlfriend on the boat, where Mario has a lot of fun with Matilda. But now, Marco and Matilda see love for each other in each other's eyes, and in between, when they get a chance, they also make out. After this, Mario and Matilda book separate rooms for themselves in a hotel, but actually he wanted to spend that night in Matilda's room. Here, Marco is also on the boat with his girlfriend, but he can't sleep. So he goes out to roam the streets of the city for 1.5 hours. While roaming around, he sees a man who looks like Mario to him. And that man is going somewhere very fast on a cycle. But Marco doesn't pay much attention to this. The next day, when everyone is eating in a restaurant, a police officer comes and gives a bad news to Mario that his wife has died due to drowning in the lake of Cloffy. But friends, looking at him, it seemed like he was not at all sad about Cloffy's death. The police starts investigating Cloffy's case. Then they get a letter, which Mario himself wrote for his wife, in which Mario mentioned his love to Matilda. And maybe because of this, Cloffy committed suicide, and the police declare the case as a suicide and close it. A few days later, Mario marries Matilda, and 3 months pass like this. Matilda and Mario get busy in their married life, and Marco has also moved forward in his life. But now he has broken up with his girlfriend, after which one day he goes to meet Matilda and Mario at their house, where he finds out that the relationship between Matilda and Mario is not going well, and Mario's excitement for Matilda seems to have ended suddenly. In the meantime, when Mario goes out for a while, Matilda tells Marco that according to her, Cloffy did not commit suicide, but Mario killed him. On this, Marco says that he also feels the same, because that night he saw a man whose height was exactly like Mario, and he saw him going somewhere fast on a cycle. Maybe that night Mario came back home from the cycle, and he himself drowned Cloffy in the lake and turned this murder into a suicide. One day a man suddenly comes to Mario's house, who is no one else but Matilda's husband Angelo, who was missing for 10 years and who was officially declared dead. Everyone is surprised to see him alive, and we find out that Angelo has not come here for Matilda, but he came here because he got the news of his sister's suicide. Then Angelo tells that he still talked to his sister through the letter, and his sister also knew that his brother was alive, and Cloffy kept this secret from everyone. Actually, during the war, Angelo was made an enemy prisoner, where they torture him to such an extent that they also cut Angelo's private part. And this was the reason why all the excitement in him was over, and he didn't want to come back. But the news of his sister's suicide forced him to come here. Then Angelo tells that his sister can't commit suicide, because she promised to meet Angelo in a few days. And in her last letter, she wrote that she wants to get Mario out of her house, because every day, Mario was becoming a reason for her shame. Friends, now there is a new turn in this case, and the police reopens this case and starts his investigation from a new beginning. After this, Marco tells Angelo and the police that he saw Mario going somewhere on the night of Cloffy's death. And with the help of the police, Marco also reaches the man who gave Mario the cycle on rent. After this, keeping the witness of the man on the cycle and the new evidence in mind, the police comes to arrest Mario, on which Mario is very ashamed. And before walking with the police, he asks for a while and hangs himself in the same bishop's room. Now, after a few days of this incident, Angelo gives all his property to Matilda and tells her that he will never come back because he has set up a business outside the country and his life is going well there. And saying this, he leaves there. Friends, the day Mario committed suicide, that day Matilda and Marco have a physical relationship and love each other wholeheartedly. Now, after Mario's death, Matilda wanted to marry Marco and live happily, but Marco leaves him forever and goes back to his boat, because maybe he was not confirmed that he saw Mario on the cycle that night. It could be someone else. But on Matilda's request, he misled the police and gave fake witnesses. Matilda could also be behind all this. The movie ends here. So friends, this was the complete story of the bishop's bedroom. I hope you liked this explanation. If you liked it, please like, share our video, and support us by subscribing to our channel. And press the bell icon on the side because we keep bringing such interesting explanations. See you in the next video. Till then, stay safe and take care.